Hello everybody, welcome to Season 2 of Big Sky Hobby Corner. Before we really get into building anything, what we're going to do is go over what we need to do to our airplanes before we put them up for the winter. There's kind of a controversy on whether you want to take your batteries out or not. That's really a personal opinion. Me, I prefer to because it gets really cold here and I keep things out in the shop. So, but before we remove our battery, there's a little bit of engine maintenance we need to do to help protect our motors over the course of the winter while they're sitting. And that's what we're going to cover. So hang tight and reset the camera and we'll be right back. I kind of built this one in 8 hours, believe it or not. It was kind of a challenge to see if I could do it before we went on vacation. What we have on our motor is a Super Tiger 45, and this is one of the old original Italian-made Super Tigers before they retooled in China, and I want to take care of this airplane. So one of the couple things we need to do, if you can tell, you can see in the video there, the throttle barrel is closed. Let's go ahead and open that up. So we'll power up our transmitter and our receiver. Kind of checking all the controls, make sure they still look good. We'll go ahead and throttle up and open that barrel. You see the barrel open up? No. Well, what I'm going to do, there are several options. You can go to the hobby store and buy after run oil if you want to, and that's all fine. But the deal with that is, it's like $5 for a little bottle. Now here, let's see if I can get it in there. I've just got a cheap WD-40, bought at Walmart for $1.99. It's the same thing, WD-40. Works just as good. It'll keep everything from gumming up. And what I'll do, I want to squirt a decent amount into the carburetor, but you don't want to overdo it. And see how it filled up, and we'll turn that around. Oh, my microphone's in the way. To get that down in the crank, you see it drop? That opened up our crank. We'll go ahead and blow that back because we definitely do want to lubricate our crank really well. We'll just pull it through a few times. Like so. We'll go ahead and pull our throttle back. There's plenty there. I'm just going to exercise that a little bit in case there's any kind of nitro in there. That'll take care of that. Next thing we want to do is remove our glow plug. And get our wrench. Take our glow plug out. And we're just going to put that right back in there when we get done. We're going to take our piston all the way to the bottom. I'm going to squirt a little WD-40 in there as well. That'll get our cylinder good to go. That's going to run down our intake ports and out our exhaust port a little bit. I'm just going to pull that through just to make sure that WD-40 gets in there really well. And you're probably asking why WD-40 instead of like air tool oil or something like that. Well, here's the thing. Air tool oil will not burn. WD-40 will. So when you go to restart next spring, you're going to have an engine full of air tool oil that won't burn, and it's going to give you a lot of problems trying to get it going. WD-40, on the other hand, will burn, so it's a little easier to start. And if you prefer to use after run, that's just fine. Do the same thing there that we just did with our WD-40. What this does, there's actually bearings inside that motor. There's two. There's a sealed bearing up front by the propeller, and then there's another bearing about midway right in front of the crank. And we need to keep all the sludge and crap out of there, and that WD-40 will help do that. So I'm just sitting here pulling it through, pulling it over, and just making sure we get a good even distribution. Now if you want, you can even take your electric starter, hook it up to the nose cone, and spin it through really fast. It all does the same. And that's really what you want to do. Now let me reposition here. Okay. I'm running a whole new setup on the camera and microphone and everything. So, for our gas models, and I've got a couple, We want to take care of them like we would our weed eater, because it's the same kind of motor, same everything. What I do, I'll go get a fuel stabilizer, pick this up at Walmart for like $3 or $4. And then what I'll do, I'll mix it in with the remaining fuel I have in my gas can. Not in the airplanes, you want to drain those. We're going to suck all the gas out of our airplanes like you should do at the field every day when you're done flying. Then we're going to mix our stable into our fuel can properly, to the proper ratio, and it will stabilize up to 24 months. You could set it and forget it for 2 years and it'll be just like the day you left it. And the trick to this is, once you mix it up in your gas can, you want to go ahead and fill your tank in your airplane and run it for a couple minutes. What you want to do, you want to get that stabilized fuel through your fuel lines, into the carburetor, into the diaphragms, into the motor, because it has a anti-gumming and anti-varnishing additive as well. And once you get it in there, you're good to go. Now, for your weed eater, I would recommend fill your gas tank up 90%, run it for a little while, and make sure there's fuel in the lines, because your worst enemy actually is oxygen. That is what causes a lot of corrosion. Airplanes, it's kind of a different story, because you don't want to leave your gas in your tank for 6 months or however long the airplane is going to set. Go ahead and run the stabilized fuel through your motor. Make sure your diaphragm is good and wet with it, because your motor will actually retain a little bit of fuel. I hope you're running a no ethanol fuel in this, because that'll help prevent corrosion. And drain your tanks after you get done running everything in real good with the stabilized fuel. And at the beginning of the year, you want to check all your fuel lines, and we'll cover all that stuff this coming spring on what we need to check and what we need to look into before we actually go to the field and fly for the first time this spring. And I've also figured out what we're going to do for our PT40 giveaway contest. Through the entire series, or this season, every video, we're going to spell a mystery word. And then each episode, I'm going to give away one letter of this mystery word. It may be in order, it may not be in order. But at the end of the season, when we creep into spring, I'm going to ask for you guys to email this word, this mystery word, to me. And the first one to hit my mailbox with the correct answer wins the PT40. So, and that's right, Ryan, you want to go grab that PT40 for me right quick? We're going to have some help this year as well. I got my son Ryan, he's going to be helping me out on our second build, which is going to be a SIG 4-star 40. I want to thank Rod and Helena for that one. You may see my oldest son Tyler, when he's not dreaming about girls, come through here and help out every now and then.
I don't know.
He's hiding over here. But here it is. This is the PT40 kit that we're going to give away this season. Right here. It's all there. Kit is sealed. So we're going to give that away at the end of this season. And keep in mind, it's just the airplane kit. You still have to buy your covering, motor, radio, and all that good stuff. But that's a big chunk of your first airplane right there. So be paying attention to all those videos. And again, be sure to go like us on Facebook as well, because I may drop a letter there too. You never know. And the correct answer will be the one that wins it. All right, folks. Well, that's it for our very first episode of Season 2. I know it's a short one, but our next episode here in about a week, we're going to finish our PT20 build. We're going to attach all our control surfaces. We're going to put all the guts in it, mount the motor, and try out our new radio system from Tower Hobbies, and get everything good to go. And we might step out in the shop and break that motor in as well, if it's not too cold. If it's too cold, we'll move on to our next build, which is the SIG 4-star 40. Until that time, thanks for watching.